Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're going to continue our reading from Canto 8, Enchanting Pastimes, Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam. Chapter number 8 we shall be reading today. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatam handante Shri Gurum Deen Tarenam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. The title of the chapter is Churning the Milk Ocean. When the danger had passed, the Asuras headed by Bali said, "Let us continue with our task. The hard part is done and soon we will enjoy the fruits of our work." The gods picked up Vasuki's tail and the two parties began churning with renewed vigor. Soon a celestial Surabhi cow emerged from the foaming milk ocean. The great sages watching from the skies saw the cow. One said, "This cow can produce unlimited quantities of milk, yogurt and ghee, all of which are required for our Vedic ceremonies." "Yes," said another. "With our ghee alone, we can perform all the sacrifices necessary for attaining Brahma's planet in our next lives." Seeing that both the gods and Asuras were neglecting the cow, they hurried to the place and took her away. The gods and Asuras continued their energetic churning. Next there emerged from the frothing ocean a magnificent white war stallion. A voice from the sky declared, "This horse is Uchishrava." As soon as he saw it, Bali wanted it. "Only I, the undisputed ruler of the universe, deserve this fine steed," he declared. Remembering Ajita's advice to him, the gods did not object. Once he had securely tethered Uchishrava, Bali gripped Vasuki's head and resumed the churning. Shortly after that, a great white elephant appeared. The same celestial voice declared, "This is Airavat." Everyone gasped in wonderment. "I have never seen an elephant with 4 tusks," said Chandra. "Each tusk rivals the glories of Lord Shiva's abode, Mount Kailash," observed Surya. In quick succession after Airavat emerged another 8 bull and 8 cow elephants. The celestial voice announced the names of the prime bull and cows of the herd as Airavan and Abhramu. The churning then produced the 2 divine gems, Kaustubha and Padmarga. I think it should be Padmaraga. Ajita desired them, and they mystically alighted onto his chest. Next emerged the heavenly Parijat flower, followed by beautiful Apsaras. However, the gods and Asuras resisted their allure and continued churning. Then another lady appeared whose beauty far exceeded that of the Apsaras. The Asuras and gods dropped Vasuki and stood gaping at her. "Just see," said one. "She sparkles more attractively than lightning from a crystal mountain. Who is she?" A celestial voice announced, "Behold, the goddess of fortune, Rama. She is the source of all wealth." She looked out among the gathered assembly and indicated that she would choose a husband from among them. One thought crossed everyone's mind. "If she chooses me as her husband, I will become the wealthiest person in the universe." Desiring to impress her, Indra gallantly hurried forward to offer her a suitable seat. All the sacred rivers, including the Ganges and Yamuna, appeared in their personified forms and golden water pots for her worship. One by one, other celestials came forward with paraphernalia used in worship. The earth goddess arrived bearing suitable herbs. Celestial cows provided ample milk and other necessities. The deity of spring brought many fragrant flowers. When everything was assembled, the sages performed the ritual bathing ceremony for the goddess as directed by the Vedic scriptures. Meanwhile, Gandharvas and Apsaras danced and sang in praise of her, and the personified clouds played various drums, blew conch shells and bugles, and played flutes and stringed instruments. Airavat and the other 16 elephants used their trunks to bathe the goddess. While being bathed, she looked exquisitely beautiful. Holding a lotus flower, the gods then came forward and offered her gifts. When her worship was complete, she rose from her seat, holding a garland of lotus flowers, and began moving among the many gods. And asuras vying for her attention, smilingly, shyly, her cheeks decorated with earrings, she looked gorgeous. The asuras breathed heavily. One muttered under his breath, "I have never seen such a symmetrical body." Another said, "Just see how she has smeared them with sandalwood and kunkana powder." The gods also admired her openly. "Just the tinkling of her ankle bells as she walks here and there is stealing my mind," said one. Another said, "She resembles a golden creeper." Unheedful of such comments, the goddess walked among them. Scrutinizing each of them in search of a suitable husband, Durvasa boasted, "O goddess, choose me, I have undergone great austerity." She shook her head. "You have not yet conquered anger." Brihaspati called out, "Choose me, I possess great knowledge." She shook her head. "You are still a victim of material desires." Brahma declared, "I am a great personality, surely I am fit to be your husband." She shook her head. "You have not defeated lust." The asuras crowded around her, jostling for her attention. Turning away from them, she announced, "I cannot take shelter of one who is not free from faults. Furthermore, since all of you are controlled by something, you are not yourselves the supreme controller." The sages and gods hoped they had more chance and began calling out her. "I'm not like the others, choose me." The goddess shook her head. Pointing to Shukra, she said, "I know you possess full knowledge of religion, but I also know you are not friendly toward all living beings." Then she swept her arm to encompass them all. "I realize many of you gods are somewhat renounced but not enough to be saved from repeated birth and death. Many of you are very powerful, yet none can check the all-powerful influence of time." One suitor protested, "I have fully renounced attachment to the material world." The goddess again shook her head. "You cannot compare to the Supreme Person. None of you is completely free from the influence of the three modes of nature." Bali tried to woo her, promising to protect her throughout his long life. She turned away from him. "I know you are extremely long-lived, Bali, but what is the use of that? You are bereft of good conduct due to your asuric nature." Manu's sons called out, "Choose one of us. Our conduct is impeccable." "Maybe," she replied, "but as humans, your lifespan is short." Some of Shiva's ghostly followers called out, "Choose our Lord. He is both long-lived and pious." "That is true," agreed the goddess, "but his behavior is inauspicious." "How can you say that?" they challenged. "Does he not look like spending time in crematoriums? This is not very appealing behavior." Then she turned her eyes on Ajita, who alone was not seeking her attention, and said, "One who is actually auspicious is not eager to possess me. I have therefore decided to accept Lord Ajita, the bestower of liberation, as my husband." The asuras protested, "Why are you interested in him? He is indifferent to you." "I choose him because he alone is happy with or without me. Furthermore, he possesses all transcendental qualities and mystic powers. Therefore, I desire him alone as my husband." With these words, she walked towards Ajita and placed a garland of newly grown lotus flowers over his head. Then, smiling shyly, she waited by his side. Knowing her mind, Ajita followed her to take her place on his chest, unseen by others. The gods cheerfully accepted her choice. Brahma told the others, "Ajita is the Supreme Lord, the Father of the three worlds. His chest is the goddess of fortune's natural resting place." The other gods cheerfully said, "All glory to Lakshmi Narayan." The goddess, pleased by the gods' worship of her husband, blessed them to regain their opulence. The Gandharvas and Charans, along with their wives, broke out in ecstatic singing and dancing. The rhythmic sound of their musical instruments and conch shells created a festive atmosphere. Brahma, Shiva, sage Angira, and the administrative gods became enthused by the positive energy. They showered flowers on the divine couple and recited mantras glorifying them. Lakshmi was delighted, and she blessed the celestials with good behavior and transcendental qualities at which they displayed great happiness. The asuras, neglected by the goddess of fortune, became depressed and frustrated. They shamelessly called out, "Let us abduct her. Who can stop us? We are the undisputed rulers of the universe. They drew their swords, but the gods intercepted them. Bali could see that to reach the goddess Lakshmi, they would have to kill the gods. But then who would help them get the nectar of immortality? He checked his men. Let us first get the elixir, my friends. Do not let a woman distract us from our goal. Begrudgingly, the Asuras sheathed their weapons and again took up Vasuki's head. As the gods and Asuras churned furiously, from the foamy ocean arose a lotus-eyed goddess of intoxication, Varuni. She glanced seductively at the Daityas. This one is yours, declared Bali. Remembering Ajita's earlier instruction to them, the gods did not protest. When she took her place at Bali's side, the two parties resumed churning. Then from the frothy milk, a superb male appeared. He seemed like a powerful young lion with long, sinewy arms adorned with bangles. His neck marked with 3 lines resembled a conch shell, and his eyes were reddish of blackish complexion. He was dressed in yellow garments decorated with various ornaments and garlanded with flowers. In his hand he held a large jug filled with nectar. A voice from the sky announced, "This is Dhanvantari. He is part of a plenary portion of Lord Vishnu." I will repeat, he is a plenary part of a plenary portion of Lord Vishnu and is fully conversant with the science of medicine. He may enjoy a share of all sacrifices along with the gods. Bali immediately realized Dhanvantari's jug contained the elixir. Get that vessel, he commanded as he leapt toward to wrestle it from Dhanvantari. The other Asuras swiftly surrounded Dhanvantari, and before the gods could do anything to stop them, they raced off with it. The gods stood in shocked surprise. Everything had happened so fast. What should they do? The Asuras were already far away. They would never catch them. Feeling dispirited, they turned to Ajita for help. Ajita reassured them, Do not be aggrieved, dear gods, by my energy. I shall bewilder the Asuras and make them quarrel. Thus I shall fulfill your desire to have the nectar." Meanwhile, the Asuras, having put a great distance between themselves and the gods, had stopped in a quiet and secluded place. Bali instructed his generals to keep watch in the case the gods tried to ambush them before they could all drink the elixir. They replied, "Well, let us have a drink first, then we will keep watch while the rest of you drink." "What?" said Bali. "I'm the king here. I drink first. Now do as you are told and go stand watch." "What's the objection? Why can't we first take a quick swig?" "Because I'm the king." "Well, I'm your chief general, so I should be the second to drink." "Send someone to stand watch." Bali reluctantly agreed, and the other generals also demanded that they should be among the first to drink. "Send the foot soldiers to stand guard." The Asura soldiers protested, fearing the generals would finish all the elixir and not leave any for them. "Why should any of us go and stand guard? The gods help churn the milk ocean. They are also entitled to some. Let's wait for them to come, and Ajita can fairly share the elixir." "How dare you tell me what to do?" shouted Bali. "We are merely reminding you of the agreement you made." They argued back and forth among themselves. In the meantime, the gods and Ajita caught up with them. Spotting the bickering Asuras, Indra turned to Ajita. "What should we do?" "Just wait here and leave alone to me." Before the astonished eyes of the gods, he assumed the form of a voluptuous woman. Her complexion resembled a fresh blackish lotus. Each of her limbs were beautifully formed. Her ears were decorated with earrings, her cheeks radiant, her nose gently raised, and her waist thin. Her demeanor was youthful and very pleasing to the minds of all who beheld her. Her attractive bodily fragrance made even more alluring by the scent of her malika flower garland attracted bumblebees. Her legs were decorated with the ankle bells. Her sari was clean and was tastefully decorated with celestial jewels, and the gods stared at her in wide-eyed wonder. Who are you? This feminine incarnation of mine will be renowned as Mohini Murti, the enchantress. Mohini turned and walked to where the asuras were still squabbling among them. Hearing her ankle bells, they turned to see who was coming. Their mouths fell apart, and they stood motionless as she approached. When she moved her eyebrows and smiled shyly, their hearts filled with burning desire to possess her. And this brings us to the end of chapter 8, Churning the Milk Ocean. And next time we will read from chapter 9, Vishnu becomes a woman. So I hope you all are having a very blissful Amalki Ekadashi. So we will continue reading next time. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Lord Jagannath ki Jai.